What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on a sort of a subject that I spoke about a little bit earlier, but it was from a different point of view, right? I spoke about like Lisa Bluter and like how she had to coach Caitlin Clark while Caitlin Clark was in school while she was at Iowa, right? And how that affected her development, Caitlin Clark's development while she was in college. And so then I got to thinking, like, what if Caitlin Clark had a went to UConn and played for Geno Auriemma? Like, how would that have affected her development, and not just her development, but then how would that have shaped like how she looked going into the WNBA? And so I think personally, going to a school like for somebody like Caitlin Clark to go to a school like UConn, like if she'd have went to UConn and played for Geno Auriemma, I think that she probably would not have been able to shoot all of those logo threes that she wanted, right? That she did. It wouldn't have been necessary. So if you don't shoot all those logo threes, I you know, and you more so running like a program, right? You're part of a program, so it's not so much about Caitlin Clark as it is the program. And so, with that being said, I think that if she had gone to UConn, I think she would have had a very successful college career because the talent is there. She can shoot, she can score, and the talent is there. But she would not have had to do as much. And I think in the long run, I think her game would have been more it'd have been more refined. Because when you play for a coach like, or not just that Gino Auriemma, but when you play for a program like that, where as though they have so many other five-star recruits, like they have, I mean, the up and down the bench, you have so many five-star ball players that it can't be about one player. So you can focus on different things, because there's so much more room for error. You can focus on defense. You can focus on like running the offense the way the coach wants the offense to run, whether it's a motion offense or something like that, or you're doing something like some type of read and react type situation. Um, so that's the type of situation she would have been in. She would not have had as many opportunities at UConn, to or the green. She wouldn't have had the green light the way she did at Iowa, right? And so when you don't have that and you have so much more structure and you're required to play better defense, you're required to involve your teammates more. Um, you know, I just think that playing under that type of structure would have prepared her more for the WNBA than just giving her the green light at Iowa, right? I think that now don't get me wrong, like what she did at Iowa was like exceptional. To have one five-star ball player in a program like that, and then they go to two national championships, although they lose, I think that was exceptional. Like for men's for men's and women's basketball, like you don't see that. Like Steph Curry didn't do that at Davidson, and he stood out at Davidson. Let me see, Michael Beasley when he went to where did Michael Beasley went to Kansas State, right? And he, they had a nice they had a nice little tournament run. I'm not I can't recall like how far into the tournament they got, but they had a nice little tournament run. But who else? Kevin Durant, he was at Texas, and they made like a little run into the tournaments. And like I said, with Steph Curry made like a little run into the tournament. But what Caitlin Clark did at Iowa, carrying them to back, to the to the championship game. That just was crazy. Um, Even Elena Deladon, like when she went to Delaware, or was it Delaware State? One of the two. She didn't have the same type of success that Caitlin Clark did. So Caitlin Clark definitely was a beast, was, you know what I mean, a beast at college. But I think her college career, Caitlin Clark's college career, had she gone to UConn, it probably would have been along the lines of like would have it would have been like what Steph Curry, his career at Davidson, because Steph Curry really wasn't highly recruited, right? But I think her career probably would have been like Michael Jordan and Dean Smith. So like Michael Jordan, Dean Smith kind of like suppressed Michael Jordan because it wasn't about Michael Jordan. It was about the team. It was about North Carolina, and I think Geno Auriemma would have done the same thing with Caitlin Clark. At the same time, he's kind of like making her play team ball and understand and teaching her how to play with like other great players. You know, I think that right there would have made her more prepared for the WNBA, like playing at a school like if he had, like I said, like with Geno Smith, like I'm sorry, with Geno Auriemma. So if she playing with Geno Auriemma, and it's just like Michael Jordan playing for North Carolina and Dean Smith, Kenny Smith said that was Michael Jordan going to North Carolina and playing under there. That's just like getting a Ivy League type education, as far as basketball is concerned, because Michael Jordan knew how to, because of Dean Smith, he's seen every kind of defense there was. And he knew how to, because of Dean Smith, he knew how to like use his other teammates and how to get them involved in the game and not really try to take everything upon himself. Caitlin Clark wasn't in that situation when she was at Iowa. She had to do everything. Now she did see every kind of defense that you could throw at somebody. But on the other hand, she didn't have the opportunity to play with other five-star ball players. So she had to carry that load. And I think that it was just a lot of pressure on her. And she's just so used to doing that, like carrying the bulk of that load. And that has rolled over into her WNBA career. And so now she's in the process of learning like what it takes to to be a professional basketball player, because the things that she did in high school and in college, she won't be able to transfer all of those skills over to the WNBA. And so like if with playing at a program like UConn with somebody like with Geno Auriemma, I think that would have helped her more so prepare for the next level. Um, just like when you see like with what's the young lady name? Paige Beckers, right? And you see like how Paige Beckers is like her game, to me, is more suited for the WNBA because she can distribute the ball, she protects the ball, she don't have a lot of turnovers, and she can get her shot. She knows how to work in the flow of the game to get her shot. Whereas though she's not expending a lot of energy trying to take somebody one on one or shooting logo threes. Whereas though um like she know how to shoot in rhythm and also keep her teammates involved in the game. And so that's basically the transition that Caitlin Clark is going through. I think that Caitlin Clark is I think that Caitlin Clark is because of her skill set, she's able to make that adjustment. But I just think that it's taking her a little while. I think once she catches on to how to play the game at this level, how to play the game smarter and not harder, I think it's going to be, for the rest of the league, I think it's going to be very unfortunate. You know what I mean? Once she grasps that and how to run an offense without working so hard, I think it's going to be, it's really going to be, it's going to be a lot. And I think that, like I said, if she had played for Geno in college, she wouldn't have had all that pressure coming out of school because she's coming from a school whereas though it wasn't just about her. She wouldn't have been doing, all of the things that she would have done at Iowa. And that would have the expectations would not have been there. That pressure would not have been there. And so she could just kind of like fly under the radar while she learns how to play the game. And so that's why, like now she's sitting down with this injury. She's, she's watching the game, she's learning the game. And when she come back, I think she's going to be better. But if she had to play somewhere like UConn, like I said, if she'd have played for UConn or she'd have played for any South Carolina, Notre Dame, LSU, I like Kim Mulkey. I think Kim Mulkey is a great coach too. Um, yeah, I think if she'd have played at LSU, any of those schools that are like constantly in the top, top ranked schools as far as women's basketball, I think she'd have been a little bit more polished. She's somewhat rough around the edges when it comes to taking care of the ball, shot selection and stuff like that. But if she played in had she played for somebody like Geno Auriemma, man, it would have been right now we would be looking at her the way we're looking at Paige Beckers. But yeah, man, I just just wanted to do this video because what if it just like the teammates that you have in the situation or the environment that you come from play a big part in your development. And so that's all I was trying to point out with this video. But with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I will check you all out in the next video. Peace.